Today we're going to be seeing how FutureCanoe makes his ramen 5 different ways. Now, let's get started.
I call this thing Shin Ramen, but my Korean friends always tell me it's actually called Shin Ramen. And today I found out that its official name on the bag is Shin Noodle Soup.
Who's stupid now, huh?
Shin noodle soup. So, is it ramen or is it not? Because ramen is a soup.
Our first recipe is chili oil noodles. It was first started on Korean social media and then popularized by English-speaking creators like Lisa Nguyen and Doobie Doobop. Basically, you want to pour in half of the seasoning packet, along with 2 teaspoons of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of Chinese black vinegar.
So what are we making today? These are like variations on instant ramen? Oh, this is going to be interesting.
3 to 4 cloves of garlic. If you get injured by a microplane like this, it takes about 2 weeks to completely heal. Don't ask me how I found out.
Yeah, if you nick yourself while using a microplane, it does take a couple weeks to heal. It's just small little blades, is it? It just takes off a little bit of skin. Maybe a fingernail or 2.
Once we have all the ingredients ready, we'll move on to the stove. I always put my instant noodles directly into cold water like this because I feel like it hydrates faster. Plus, I don't think putting it in after the water boils makes it any healthier. While the noodles are cooking, we'll heat up about 2 tablespoons of oil. Any type of oil should work except for,
Jamie olive oil. Yeah!
Aye, poor Jamie. He's always the butt of jokes, isn't he? It honestly makes you wonder how much he went through during school with his last name being Oliver.
Heat the oil right before it reaches smoking point, and when you can't distinguish it from water, it means it's hot enough. I'm gonna pour all this hot oil onto the plate we prepared earlier, and I'll give you a little bit of a ASMR.
Now, so all of you know, when you start to see oil like this come up to a smoking point where it's literally starting to smoke, you need to be very careful at this point, because if you let it get any hotter, it can ignite. And if you put anything in that oil, it can also burn you very easily. So the best thing to do is to take it off the heat once you start to see this.
Mix it all up and our chili oil is ready. After draining the noodles, we'll dump it all in. And here's more ASMR.
Is that it? That's the recipe. Well, that was a quick recipe.
After it's mixed thoroughly, we'll move it aside and then start frying.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A little bit of extra flavor.
Later.
We'll use the residual oil in the pan to fry up an egg. My apartment's been smelling so good as soon as that hot oil hit the garlic earlier. The oil really activated all the flavors and aromas in those ingredients and also made it kind of creamy too.
Oh, come on, though, FutureCanoe. You could have at least wiped the bowl. I mean, look at the bowl. It's disgustingly dirty. This instant ramen would have looked 10 times better if you had wiped the bowl.
There's really not much need for a taste test because you already know it's gonna be fire. Now we break open the egg, mix it up real nice, let the yolk evenly sort of distribute into the noodles. I'm very excited to taste and ready to entertain.
I think he liked it.
It's creamy, silky, rich, with a hint of spicy kick. Once in a while, you come across something that changes your life forever, and this recipe is one of them. 9.3 out of 10.
Well, that is a much faster ramen than Nigella Lawson's. Like, seriously, if you haven't seen Nigella Lawson make her instant ramen, go check that video out. We've reviewed it.
The one thing I remember from physics at school, thank you, Mr. Clark, is that if you put a lid on, everything comes to the boil faster.
If that's the only thing you remember from physics, then Mr. Clark fucked up.
This recipe uses the same technique from the sauce of carbonara. We'll start by putting everything in a bowl, including 1 egg, seasoning packets, 2 cloves of grated garlic, a couple pinches of bacon bits, chopped up scallion, and a little bit of chili paste.
The only thing he's missing is the chili jam. Well, he had a chili paste. It's close.
When everything's ready, you just beat it together. I sincerely apologize I don't have the Ligma fork at this moment. Now we're gonna cook some noodles. Make sure you don't drain out the water because we're gonna use it. We're gonna turn this brown slimy syrup into a beautiful red creamy sauce. I'm too lazy to take out another bowl for the noodle water, so I'm just gonna pour it directly above.
Right now he's tempering the egg so he doesn't scramble it, because if he were to add all that hot water in at once, he could scramble the egg. And then it would just make for a very lumpy sauce.
Once it resembles a homogeneous sauce, we'll take out the noodles and pour it in. I guess the concept is really similar to the last recipe, except this one is with egg and hot water instead of oil. The fact that there's a raw egg in it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm gonna use the Ligma fork to protect me from all evil.
The thing is though, the egg technically isn't raw since he already added boiling water to it. You do need to get the egg up to about 160 Fahrenheit, and if you're concerned about it, use a thermometer.
I don't think it tastes that good, but I suspect that it's because the last recipe tasted too good and this one is too similar to it. And due to those reasons, I'm gonna give it a 6.9.
What is 6.9? A good thing ruined by a period.
At least they didn't say 6-7, because that doesn't make any sense.
So our third recipe is going to be very unfriendly to our lactose intolerant audience. The first step is to turn a sausage into these.
It's like a little hot dog that was just cut in half and then with a little bit of melted cheese on it. Oh, this is gonna be strange.
Octopus looking things. Right now I'm just removing the casing. As I told you before, the professional culinary term for this step is called circumcision, and I just realized this sausage matched perfectly with my shirt. Talk about meant to be.
The sausage is the exact same color as a shirt. Like, literally. What a coincidence, huh? That your food is literally the same color as your shirt.
Basically want to cut the bottom half of the sausage twice perpendicularly to create those 4 legs. So hopefully when we boil them, it will take into shape and spread like this. Moving on to the interesting part. This is going to be a milk-based Shin Ramen broth. About 2 cups or so. You don't have to use expired milk if you don't like it. Now we just follow the procedures of making a normal bowl of Shin Ramen. Oh, excuse me, Shin noodle soup. The funny thing about milk is that when you look at it, it will never boil, but as soon as you take your eyes off of it.
Yeah, it's true, huh? It is true. It can happen with pasta too.
Now we turn down the heat a little bit and drop in our sausages. To make it look like an octopus, I'm gonna stuff all my noodles in between their legs. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say. They didn't really take up the
Ew.
shape, but I'll try to arrange them.
Oh my goodness, look at this. It doesn't look very nice, does it? Nasty looking soup.
That's the best I can do. And to complete this dairy dish, I'm gonna put a slice of mozzarella on top.
I think that's enough with the blowtorch.
So here we have it, a cheesy, milk-based Shin Ramen.
Who even comes up with this stuff? Like, seriously, who invents this?
This is probably the nightmare of every lactose intolerant person, but look at this cheese pull.
What do I feel like if Jack was gonna make ramen? This is what he would make.
Look how juicy it is. Look at the pool of, look at that. That's great. This did a great job.
Take a look at the mess I just made. Usually when you eat Shin Ramen, it kind of tastes like noodles in spicy water, and this recipe offers that richness it's been lacking. It's probably better to eat this recipe in the winter. You can see here the broth got really thick and creamy, kind of reminds me of a bone-based broth. Taste-wise, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10, but overall, I'm feeling a little sick right now. I can't tell if it's the expired milk or the pink sausage.
It's probably both, and maybe also this being the third ramen that he's made.
This recipe is the one I'm most curious about. It has over 10 million views on TikTok. It's like an imitation of tonkatsu ramen. All you need is an egg yolk, the seasoning packet, and I give a second chance to QP mayo. I feel like the yolk here is a little redundant since mayo is basically just egg yolk sauce.
Traditional mayo is made with egg, but today you can buy mayo that's eggless. It's for vegans, so, you know, there's no egg in it. It's just basically oil that's held together with a bunch of other stabilizers, because eggs can make wonderful emulsifications.
Ligma fork it all together till it looks like a red thick paste. After cooking the noodles, we'll slowly pour the water into the bowl, constantly stirring with the Ligma fork to keep it homogeneous.
He's tempering again, so he doesn't scramble the eggs.
It starts to look like a legitimate broth. We'll pour the whole pot in. The smell that's coming out of the bowl is reminding me a lot of bone broth. Can't believe just a second ago this just mayonnaise and water. Finally garnished with scallion, and that marks the completion of our mayo instant noodles.
I have to admit though, this ramen was faster than even Gordon's 10-minute ramen, and also a lot easier than his 10-minute ramen.
Before we give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10, I'm gonna try to minimize the mess by swirling it on a Sigma spoon.
Yeah, the Sigma fork doesn't do too good, does it, when you twirl it?
Baby,
He liked it.
I am beyond impressed with this recipe. If you don't tell me it's made of mayonnaise, I would have never guessed. Overall, this is really easy to make and easy to swallow. It deserves a solid 8.2 out of 10. It's definitely gonna make it to my next struggle meal video.
That was the best one so far. Amazing. He loved it. And that was the one with mayo. Would never have thought that.
Our final recipe is a cold dish. It's supposed to imitate the Korean cold noodles,
Cold. Cold ramen. Let's see how this is.
also known as namyeon. As you can see here, I'm starting with a seasoning packet and a spoonful of soy sauce, a spoonful of rice wine vinegar for the acidity, actually 2 spoons, a teaspoon of sugar, and the rest of my scallion. We're diluting all this with a cup of cold water. We're also adding ice cubes to it later. We'll set this bowl aside for now because I need to go into my bedroom to get the rest of our ingredients. Just give me 1 sec.
Sorry, children. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so it helps the video out so more people can see these videos.
We're gonna cut the cucumbers into really thin strips. I learned this method from my mom, so if you have a better way of cutting it, let me know in the comments.
Well, for starters, he could get a towel, damp it, and put it under the cutting board so it doesn't move when he cuts it. This would help.
This is how they look. Once you squeeze them all together, you can't really tell some of them is not cut all the way through. Here we are with this questionable pink sausage again. A lot of you have been asking me in the comments where I get these radioactive protein. But the truth is, I'm not actively looking, but rather I'm chosen by them.
In other words, he doesn't want to give up his source.
As soon as you drop your egg into a boiling pot of water, you have to set your timer to 6 minutes and 9 seconds. When the timer's up, we put it in an ice bath. You probably want to avoid cooking one single egg because it might get bored and make a popcorn, just like this one over here. I've literally never been able to peel a perfect looking egg in my life. Every time I try to do it, people suspect that I took a bite out of it.
Yeah, this is true. Anytime that you peel eggs, it's always a pain. Some say that you need to use fresh eggs. Some say that you need to use eggs that are not fresh, so they're a little older. Although, if you do happen to still peel the egg while it's relatively warm, you run it under like lukewarm water, cold water under the sink and then peel it little by little. It helps. You can also roll it on the counter. This will help to break the eggshell a lot smaller so it doesn't stick, because there's a membrane just underneath the shell itself which sticks to the egg white, and it will rip holes in it when you peel it if you're not careful with it.
Here's where that little piece of popcorn comes in. You can place it exactly where the gap is and make it look like a wholesome egg. From a distance, of course. Since it's a cold noodle dish, you want to put them directly into an ice bath after boiling to stop the cooking process.
Well, this is going to be a cold soup. This is not something that you want to be eating on like a day like today, because today it is cold out. Actually, a nice hot bowl of ramen sounds really good right now.
Have everything ready and it's time to assemble. We'll first lay our foundation of well-chilled noodles. You can pour the ice cubes in there, it doesn't matter. We'll throw in some extra ice cubes in there just to keep the broth as cold as possible. We'll throw in a big handful of cucumbers for the crunchiness.
That's enough cucumbers, don't you think? That's a fistful of cucumbers on top. That's half the cucumber.
You already know it's not a FutureCanoe video without questionable meat on top, even though I prefer my meat on the bottom. Oh, I almost forgot the egg. We'll slice it open and just put it on the side.
You know, thinking about this, if we actually compare this ramen to Jamie Oliver's ramen that he made, I wonder if Uncle Roger would actually prefer this one over Jamie's. There's a good possibility he would. Like, really.
I've never had Korean namyeon before, but I suspect this does not even come close to the authentic one. And since this dish looks so weird, I'm gonna take a thumbnail and I'm gonna ask you guys on Instagram if I had successfully created namyeon.
Most authentic Korean food in Ohio. Put the egg out of his misery. My guy thinks soap is edible. Actually, yeah, it does kind of look like it, doesn't it, the meat?
This one is a little more ruthless than usual. To be honest, I myself is a little reluctant to eat this dish, but you know, you never judge a book by its cover, and you never judge FutureCanoe's dish by its color grading. So let's mix it up a little bit, taste it, and rate it 1 through 10. Cheers, everybody.
I have a feeling he's going to say that he likes it, that it's a weird thing, and that all of a sudden amazing, he found something new. Sure enough, some of them, at the end, they didn't turn out too bad, even though that you would think that they wouldn't really work.
I I think this song perfectly describes how I feel right now. There's so much going on in the dish, I can't really put my head around it. I overcooked the noodles so it's really soggy and it mushes in with the cucumber slices. And the broth is freezing cold, so when the egg yolk hits the broth, it coagulates into this really waxy, thick paste that sticks on the roof of your mouth.
You know, to be honest, I think out of all the recipes that he tried, number 1 and number 3 were probably the best. Maybe number 3. He liked number 3 the most, I think. Let me know down below, guys, which one you think was the best and if you've actually tried any of these recipes.
I'm really good at swallowing things. But anyways, I hope you at least find some of these recipes applicable and make it at home. I just want to take a moment and thank all of you for 300,000 subscribers.
Well, that is very nice of FutureCanoe, isn't it?